Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Quack's House Calls. I'm Dr. Quack, and today is more about how I feel than what I want to teach. Because I will tell you, this video is entitled, This is Not Your Daddy's Wrestling. Because I will tell you, it is not your daddy's wrestling. Back in the days when I was a kid, I would sit down on the floor, I would watch Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and Andre the Giant, Macho Man Randy Savage, the Honky Tonk Man, and so many others do their thing. And it was great. You stayed tuned to it. You wanted to know what was going to happen next. You felt emotion when you got to watch these guys. You got happy when Hulk Hogan won the world title. You got mad when Andre the Giant stole that title from him and Ted DiBiase was declared the champion. You felt that emotion. Good guys and bad guys is what they were called. In the 90s, you had that same emotion. You had Stone Cold Steve Austin. You had The Rock. You had The Undertaker. You had Triple H. You had Shawn Michaels. Bret Hart. You had WCW against WWF. You had all that great stuff that people watched. Yes, the Attitude Era. Was it more explicit? Yeah, but people enjoyed it. And then you go down the line here, because that was like 30 years ago. Let's go 20 years ago. Let's go Ruthless Aggression. Not the same as the other two, but it had its quality with it. You had young people that were growing themselves in the business. Like you had Kurt Angle at that point. You had John Cena. You had Batista. You had Brock Lesnar. You had many of other guys in that 2001 till about 2007. You know, you had many guys. Randy Orton, Chris Benoit. You had many guys that people want to watch. Eddie Guerrero. And then you go after that. And this is where I think your granddaddy's wrestling and your daddy's wrestling stopped. Because that's where you started to see things like the PG era, where people were getting hit with cotton candy, dolls, no blood, no chair shots, none of that. And going into today's era, as they call it, the reality era, I believe it's called. That's what I've heard it called somewhat. Where you might have a couple of people that are household names. Of course, you have Roman Reigns, who gets pushed everywhere. And you have Becky Lynch, who gets pushed everywhere. Brock Lesnar's still there. And they bring a lot of guys from that 90s, 2000s back on TV. Not just WWE. I'm talking AEW as well. I mean, you still have Sting out there. Really? The guy's almost 70. Ric Flair, still out there. More power to him, but yeah, thank God he's not wrestling anymore. It's not the same. You got a bunch of young guys that all they care about is doing spot this, spot that. Spot Fest 2023 going into Spot Fest 2024. Really, that's where I say about 07, 08. That is where things got more different for professional wrestling. People are mad because they did all these cuts. And I get it. I'd be upset too if some of them were your favorite stars, if some of them were your favorite to watch on TV. But in reality, it happens. It's called business. I mean, a person sells their company, somebody else takes over. Yeah, you can expect it. People getting cut. About 100 different people got cut. On programming, writing, graphic design, and all that. So, yeah, they took it down from 20 to 3 on people that do graphics. They cut about a dozen wrestlers, male and female, I believe. Don't know the exact number, but it's about a dozen, maybe 15. And it may keep on going. And you know what sucks about that? Those guys are going to probably not be out of a job. I don't think all of them will. I think some of them will. Some of them will be on the indie scene. Some of them might go to the competition in AEW. That's the way it goes. They got rid of AEW Dark, I think, now. I don't know. I don't believe that's still a part of everything. Today's wrestling, I don't really follow a whole lot because there's several reasons. There's no realism there. Yes, we know it is a scripted sport. But in reality, there's no realism. There's no reason for me to go, oh my God, this could be real. This looks realistic. This feels realistic. None of that. None of that. Could somebody be really pissed off at somebody else in the ring for whatever reason? There's none of that. It's a bunch of guys that go through the motions. This bump, that bump, spot this, spot that, dive! It's all that. It is all that. And this is also why, something I want to talk about here too a little bit. If you notice over the past 6 months, there have been several pay-per-views from WWE and AEW that have been overseas. I don't know if people realize this, but the American viewership of professional wrestling is down. It really is. You can say, oh, there's people in the arenas. Cool. How many of those were comped? I bet a good bit. How many of those on TV did they put the big black curtains over the seats so it looked like it was a fuller stadium? How many? A lot. Especially in U.S. shows. I mean, you look at it. They've done shows in Puerto Rico. They've done shows in London, Wembley Stadium. They did shows all over in Europe. They want to do one probably over in Japan, I believe. They're doing one in Australia over here in 2024. Oh, American fan, yeah. If you're on the East Coast, you'll be able to watch that when it starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock for everybody on the Pacific. You think about that. Times have changed in professional wrestling. Professional wrestling, when it was big, when it was the WWF, 95% of their shows or more were right here in the United States. They did tours on the occasion. They had occasional pay-per-views in the UK. Now that's gone. All they care about is the money. That's all they care about. It used to be about, we want to put out a great product. We want to put a great performance in the ring. It used to be about that. But the people that own these companies, it's about one thing. The money. I think Vince wanted to put out a great product when he ran it, especially in those 80s and 90s. I think that was important to him. I think when he was out there working the heel characters, Mr. McMahon, he wanted to give a great performance because he knew that it mattered. He didn't want to make any of his guys look bad. And none of his guys wanted to make Vince McMahon look bad. So that's why they hit him hard, because he asked them to. Because he wanted it to look real. When you saw Austin beating the crap out of McMahon, you felt that realism. A lot of people like that. They were like, I want to beat up my boss. Yeah, you felt that. It connected with the American people. Now, professional wrestling, yeah, it's a sideshow. It really is. Everybody talks, oh, there's people out there to watch it. 2 to 3 million a week. There's 328 million people roughly in the United States and in America, talking about population. There was a lot less in the 90s. And in the 90s, you had up there 6, 7 million. I was talking to a friend online about this. What is the fault here? And this is the big thing. These right here, these are the things that control professional wrestling. Because People have their opinions. People make pages. And that's everybody's God-given right. But the problem is, you didn't have the internet back in the 90s. And that really killed professional wrestling as it is today. Because you can't even do anything kayfabe anymore. You can't even want to hold a secret. It's very hard to surprise fans. Because they always seem to know on the internet. They go, oh, Roman Reigns is going to appear tonight. Day before the show. It's really sad. Professional wrestling is not the same. So for those 2 to 3 million in the United States that enjoy professional wrestling, that's good. I'll watch the shows, and I'll probably watch the one on October 7th. Am I going to be overly excited? No. Am I going to really care? No. But I'll watch it because, I love professional wrestling. And I'll probably criticize the fuck out of it because it deserves to be criticized. And I will give its praise when I see it. But it's few and far between. But yeah, that's what really gets me with professional wrestling. All they care about is the money. It's never about the performance. Make sure you slap your thigh 50 times, right? Slap. Oh, side kick, side kick, side kick, dive. That seems to be all they do. It's really sad. I just wanted to come out here and give my thoughts on the way I see professional wrestling. This is really, something needs to change. Now that you have probably the greatest mind in professional wrestling out of it, you need to kind of pack it up or change something. Make it more intriguing. That's all I'm asking. But that's the way of the world today. What can you do? If you can, if you've watched up to this point, like, share, and subscribe to my video. If you agree with me or disagree with me, put it in the comments. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't care. I want to hear your thoughts on it if you've got any. This will be my last episode here for a couple weeks. You will be able to see my good friend Steve Dallas come out here, and he will do his weekly picks on the NFL games of the week. But this is all I have, so probably in a couple weeks, I'll be talking about something else. We'll find out what that is. Till then, I'm Dr. Quack, and I'll see you next time.